Imagine being 86 years old, and when you go see your cardiologists and they check out your heart, they tell you, I wish my heart was as good as your heart. We keep being told we age, we get old, we get frail. It's all lies. You can be healthy and active in your 80s and 90s. And we're going to answer that issue about how you achieve it right after this. Welcome, everybody. This is the Life Enthusiast online video and audio podcast, restoring vitality to you and the planet. I'm your host, Scott Patton. Joining us, as usual, is health coach Martin Pytela. Hey, Martin, how you doing today?
Doing good. Emphasis on vitality.
Yes.
What you just saw me do is pour me my lunch. It looks somewhat brownish. It's made bluish by blueberries and yellowish by apple, but greenish by the excellent superfoods that are in it. To your health.
To your health. Before I forget, after the live stream, as usual, we are going to be going on Telegram, and that is at t.me/life-and-co. Put it in the it's in the description, and we'll put it in the comments for you. And Martin, we're gonna. This is Heart Health Month, so this whole month we're going to be focusing on health. And one of the myths, one of the lies that everybody's been told is you're just getting older. You know, you're going to have a heart attack. You're going to have cancer. You're going to get sick. You're going to get out of energy. You're going to get all these things. And for the majority of the people who are in what I call the system, that's true. Because when you have a system, it's created to get a result. And it's created to consistently get the same result. That's why we have systems. And, you know, the bus comes at 12:02. And if you're there, you get on it and it takes you away. And at 1:03, you arrive wherever you're supposed to be. And it happens very, very consistently. Unfortunately, the way that we have set up our systems for feeding people, the environment, and all the rest of it, usually you wear out between 70 and 90. And
sooner than that, brother. Sooner than that.
Sooner than that.
Actually, when the Germans have designed the retirement, they designed it such that the workers would die within 2 years of retirement. So back then, the retirement age was 60 and you were dying at 62. Then they moved the goalpost to 65, hoping that you'll die well before 70. I think now the goalposts should be moved. Well, it varies, right? For physical hard work, we do wear out earlier than for mental work. But
yeah, and they're talking about moving it to 67. So
right,
we're not being cooperative. Imagine putting in money so that when you hit a certain age, you'll be able to stop work and relax and enjoy your twilight years. And you're thinking it's going to be 10 years and they're thinking it's going to be 2 years. Like, which one would you bet on being right?
Actuarial tables, they have the numbers.
That's right.
My numbers are just the 7 people around me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we want to do today is we want to inspire you. Whatever your age, you can have vitality, you can have energy. And we have a client, a customer who's been with us for a long, long time, and we want to share his story with you. So with that, Martin, tell us about Michael.
Oh, okay. Well, let's just read the thing. There's a specific quote that Michael says. His last name is Laden. Michael Laden, he grew up or lived most of his life in Brooklyn, I think, but he's now in Florida. And he goes, well, he's 86, and he says, I placed second in the world in the 1,500-meter race walk, first in Florida in the first 1,500-meter race walk, and third place in 50-meter sprint. I don't know what an 86-year-old sprint looks like, but he was the fastest. No, third fastest. But
and
anyway,
this is the Senior Olympics.
Senior Olympics, yeah. And yeah, the angiogram declared him very healthy. Anyway, he has been with Exula since the late 80s, early 90s, 1992, I think. So he has been taking out, he calls in like a clockwork. Every month or so, he calls in and places his order. He buys the coenzyme Q10. He buys Exula iridescent. He buys the heart studies. He buys the Alagiplex, and he rotates through it. And he just takes, the whole family, just like what I have in here. This smoothie has some iridescent. It has some maca, some coenzyme Q10 with lecithin, and it has some aura greens in it as well, just to spike the greenery. And that's what keeps the guy going. Hi. Well,
Awesome.
more to be said, right? Metabolic disease is what we will be hearing a lot about. That's the term that is coming forward from the modern functional doctors now. They call it the metabolic disease, where your mitochondria, the little organs within your cells whose job it is to convert food into energy, are doing badly. Either they are overfed with glucose from too much starch, or they are somehow poisoned and toxified and not able to do their job properly. And the tissue, the cells that have the most mitochondria, is the heart muscle. It's about 10,000 mitochondria per cell. The other cells that have high density are muscles, like your bicep, tricep, quads, or your organs like liver, and in the brain, there's plenty of it too. Right.
So Michael, he basically eats well, gets rest, looks after himself, and then supplements whatever he's eating with a number of the Exula products.
Heavily. Yes, sir.
Heavily.
Yeah.
It reminds me, I keep thinking about this. I have this image in my head that was mentioned a couple of weeks ago about an orangutan. They followed him through the forest, and he's taking a little piece here and a little piece there and a little piece there. And they figured out that he ate 400 different types of plants and grubs and that sort of thing, right?
Yes.
And when you look at what we eat in a day, maybe there's 30 or 40 different things. And go for the Exula, and you're going to be up to your 400. And people don't talk about variety of food, right? Like you have the carnivore diet, eat beef.
Yeah, sure. Great. Well, the cow was the substitute. The cow ate the whole meadow if it was living in the wild. So the cow did the sampling for you.
Right.
I'm just messing with it. Anyway, Exula iridescent has 350 ingredients in it. 350. So George, welcome, George. We enjoy your company a lot.
Welcome, Kevin. And Kevin has a comment here, which I think is great. Thank you.
Anyway,
I like the Ultimate Q10. I switched over from another brand that was a pill. Both work great, but I like the powder for the health drinks.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Once you can get into taking a health drink, your costs go down a lot. When we looked at putting our products into capsules, it was going to raise the price by 25%. So I guess you'll save 25% when you don't take it in capsules and take it in powder instead. But what I wanted to say was, George mentioned that he takes cayenne every morning.
Right.
Good move. Cayenne, garlic, whatever. That cayenne is a stimulant, right? Cayenne is an irritant, actually, and it causes. It's called hormesis. It's called stress, right? Hormesis is that you actually put stress into some location, and by putting the stress there, the immune system or the body's repair mechanisms go there where the irritation is and fix it. That's, I don't know, some other doctors have brought that, and they put a saline injection in your knee joint, and just by doing that, the immune system comes there and does some repairs. I had that on my back when I did have a degenerated bones in my spine, and I went for bee venom therapy. That was cool. That was they would harvest the venom from the bees without killing them. They had them dance on an electric mesh, so they got irritated and they just squirted without losing their what are they called? Stingers, yeah. And anyway, so they would give it to me in injections, and it was the equivalent of about 20 bee stings at a time.
Oh, wow.
And they would just inject it all along the spine, all in the areas that needed repairs. And sure enough, as the body goes to repair that, it fixes all the tissues. So I have an X-ray, or I saw my X-ray. I don't know where they are now. I saw my X-ray from before and after, and clearly it was showing regeneration. So this cayenne idea is not entirely without merit. And we put cayenne into the Exula superfoods. Of course we do. Why wouldn't we? Every time somebody comes with a question like, hey, have you heard of goji berries? I said, yeah, we have heard of goji berries. They're in it. Hey, have you guys ever heard of, I don't know, noni juice? So, yeah, we have heard of noni juice. It's in there. You
remind me of a health conference I went to almost 20 years ago, and I had a bottle of iridescent with me. Yeah. And these guys would get on stage and they'd be raving about noni juice or cayenne or something from the Andes. And I would rush back to my room and look at the ingredients, and sure enough, it was there, right? Like this was like cutting edge information, and it had been in the product for decades.
Yeah. Yeah, astragalus, ashwagandha, ginseng.
And George is right. You have to get up early to get the jump on Martin.
I like George.
Thank you, George. So okay, so let's say somebody is in their 50s and now they are realizing that their body is breaking down. They've got their 9-to-5 job. They're doing all of the wrong things. What would you say would be kind of like a general, we'll call it a global plan, because you really need to have a local, that is to say one for you, because we're all individuals, but in a general, number one, walk a few miles a day, get some exercise.
Okay, let me put it this way. The things that are breaking you down, the things that are preventing the natural expression of health within your body, are the blocking factors: toxicity, malnutrition, stagnation, and trauma. I just put it into categories so you can visualize it. Toxicity is all the stuff that's in your body that shouldn't be there. Mostly industrial age crap. Mostly wrong foods, wrong chemicals, plastics, cosmetics, stuff in the air, stuff in the water, all the things that you get into your body that need to come out. If you have not done a full heavy metals detox, you have to. You need to do that. Otherwise, there's a zero chance that you don't have stuff on board. Nutrition is important if you don't have high nutrient food coming in. If you're eating the commercial stuff that's served to you in fast food restaurants and grocery stores, you don't have enough of these plant things, the polyphenols and the terpenes and the proanthocyanidins and stuff like that. Those all have to come in the pigments of plants. So that you need. That's the overcoming malnutrition. High nutrient density, low caloric density. The third one is stagnation. Scott started talking about walking at minimum, right? Half an hour a day of movement. If you can't walk, sit on an exercise ball. I just got off of mine just because I don't want to be bouncing here. But here it is. I sit on that, and then I also bounce on a rebounder, making sure that the lymph within my cells, all of the cells and all the extracellular fluid gets moved up and down. And that's accomplished by walking or running if you like to speed it up. And then, of course, lymphatic massage. You should be pushing on those things in your groin and in your armpit and in your over here. Right over here in these points, if you ever palpate just under the clavicle, under the collarbone, you will find a spot on me. It's about there, and it's a little hollow place. And that's where the lymphatic system connects with the circulatory system. The circulatory system is using the heart as a muscle to drive it, but also the arteries. They are a smooth muscle, longitudinal, and they are sending a wave. You know, like the same wave that you see on stadiums when people do a wave. It's that kind of wave that's pushing along the fluids along the line. And the last one is trauma, which has to do with all the childhood damage that you have suffered and all the things that have destroyed your emotional wellness. Because if you are self-sabotaging, you need to figure out how to do it right. I can't get into the details of it. We've done it before, or someday we'll go into details, but those need to be resolved. Oh man, and here goes George. Combat sucks. You know, yeah, talk about trauma, right? Like there you are, nearly pissing your pants when the bullets start flying your way, and having to muster up and actually return the fire and hope to heck that you are a better shooter than the other side.
And then when you go for a drive, you hope there's not a bomb on the road that you drive over and explode.
And, yeah, lose your whole thing. Yeah.
There's no relaxation at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I can just imagine what it feels like to get live fire aimed at you. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
We feel for you, George.
And then you come home and people say, welcome home, George. How you been?
Yeah. Nobody understands.
Well, if you've not seen it, I had just a minor exposure to this crap when I went into the refugee camp. I left from behind the Iron Curtain when it still was the communist, the Iron Curtain, the Cold War. It was still on. And so I ended up in a refugee camp, and there were all kinds of damaged characters there. And it was rule of the jungle there, right? So not easy sleeping because you don't know who's going to jump on you. It's just anyway. So I had my exposure to insecurity. It was not live fire, but it certainly was.
Yeah,
it had its.
They talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Yeah.
And safety and security is one of the foundational needs. If you don't have that, you're stuck in survival mode.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, stuff really peels down to the very basics.
George was in Budapest in 1975. Wow.
Yeah, so you saw my world because I left there in 1976. I didn't leave Budapest, but I left Prague, but it's the same story.
George, you should have gone over to Prague and said hi to Martin.
Yeah, we would have had a good time back then. He was a 20-year-old American. I was a 20-year-old Czech punk. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we have like 8 minutes left. We're going to be going over to Telegram, t.me/life and co. Make sure you join us. That's where we're uncensored.
All right.
Yes, George, wherever were your manners?
Okay. So let's just talk about cardiovascular for a moment. I know that we're going to return to it in a bit, but it's like this. Cardiovascular is an interesting thing. It likes to be stressed. It likes extremes. You're supposed to exercise twice a day to the point of panting, losing your breath, just not able to talk. If you never speed up hard enough that you're having to breathe hard, you're not pushing it enough and you'll be losing function with time.
Right.
So that's one.
So Martin, let me jump in for a second because you and I kind of chatted about this a few days ago. Pain is a part of life. Like we want to be comfortable and out of pain. And we think if we're not in pain, we're fine, particularly when we're older, right? Whereas when we were younger, we were constantly in pain because we ran too far, too fast. We kicked the ball and hit the guy in the head with the ball. We jumped around and fell on the grass, but didn't know there was a rock there. We did all these things. And the next day, it'd be like, oh, man, I can hardly move. I'm in pain. And that's kind of like an important pain. And then we get older and we say, oh, no, I don't want to kick the ball and hit the guy in the head now because that hurts. Whereas we need to be active. We need to understand that you have to push your body because that pain is your body telling you that it is rebuilding itself and getting stronger. Whereas when you're just sitting around, you're getting weaker.
Right. Yes. So yeah, that would be my message number one. Fitness is super important, and it has two parts to it. One has the maintenance of the metabolic capacity, right? If you don't use or push your metabolic requirements, then of course the body starts narrowing down to the whatever you demand of it. But before you know it, all you can manage is sitting in a chair and shuffle over to the bed and shuffle back to the chair. And I plan not to spend my last decade, if you will, sitting somewhere in a chair and somebody coming to feed me with a spoon because I can't lift the spoon. I'm so weak.
Yeah, Martin, you remind me of a house sit I did. I've done a lot of house sits, walked a lot of dogs, and normally if they live on the second or third floor, I walk up the stairs. I figure this is a great way to get exercise, right? Yeah. And I was looking after this one dog, and I took him down to the ground floor. We did our little walk. He was fine. He wasn't a big dog. But then we walked up the stairs. And for the first time in my life, this dog was panting from going up the stairs, like really just dragging itself into and I thought, you're not getting any exercise.
This poor dog was out of shape.
Out of shape. I didn't know that was possible, because they lay around all the time. But they, when they get out, they get their exercise. And this poor dog was not really getting out, not getting a good walk. And so it's all of us. We need to get that. We need to get that exercise. Find something that you like doing. Dancing is a good one. Biking, skiing, like any activity that you like, and just you don't have to be good at it.
No, absolutely not. Actually, the worse at it you are, the more effort you're going to expend.
Right. Okay, so we have a few minutes. Let's talk about a couple of the excellent products that Michael really likes. And the one I want to start off with is the Heart Formulas one. And we talked about—
How did it happen that it's there like 6 times? Blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Okay, Martin, we have 8 places that we live stream. When we live stream, I go and I put a comment so all the live streams know the links, and you see it, blah, 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 blah.
Okay,
They only
never
see
mind,
it.
Scott. I'm so sorry for insulting you with my stupid question. Let's talk about the heart formula.
Let's
The
talk about the
heart
heart formula.
The heart formula is designed to look after multiple things: the clogging of the arteries, the hardening of the arteries, the rise in inflammation, and the rise in the conversion of food into fat. It looks after all of that.
So if you have high blood pressure, for example, will it help with that?
Well, so high blood pressure has four possible causes: stress, your inability to cope with that. That's a aldosterone released by your adrenals and vasopressin, blah, blah, hormonal stuff. You need to manage that through meditative or relaxative or whatever. There's no pill for that. You can have they will prescribe you ACE inhibitor, but it's just a fake. Then you can have a mineral imbalance, not enough magnesium. You can have not enough not enough potassium, and you could have clogging of the arteries, which is the cholesterol stuff, or hardening of the arteries, which is calcification. So now that's why they hit you with multiple pills without asking what the cause is. Like I talk to people and I see them on 5-6 prescriptions. They give you a diuretic to lower the volume. They give you an ACE inhibitor just in case you're overexcited. Then they give you something like a calcium channel blocker and a beta blocker so that the heart beats less intense. Like all of that.
Right. So, and what you're saying basically is they have a bunch of things they give to people generically, and they don't bother figuring out what the actual problem is.
That's the story there.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So the heart health formula gives you a good foundation for your whole cardiovascular system.
Yeah. You can actually use it as a flush. If you can use it like 2 teaspoons a day for maintenance forever, and you'll just have more metabolic strength. But if you use 6 teaspoons a day for like 8 weeks, 6 teaspoons.
60 spoons a day?
No, 6 teaspoons. Teaspoon.
Teaspoon. Okay. Right. So just to say everybody knows it's 6, even though I'm a bit
Okay.
6. Not 6.
How about 6 like this?
Okay.
Anyway,
George knew what you said, even if I didn't.
Anyway, if you take it at 6 teaspoons a day rate, it will actually flush, reliquefy cholesterol that may be lining your internal arterial system.
Okay. So would you take 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 2 at night?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
30 to 40 minutes before eating.
George still loves me, even if I can't hear properly.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. We've got to go. Before you go, Martin, we have a very important question from Karen. Any discount for webinar participants? I have hardening the arteries, atherosclerosis, coronary blah, blah, blah. Want to get off statins, 63, just diagnosed last year. So
Okay,
what I would suggest.
Okay, hold
Martin,
on. There is a coupon. Come to the website and type in voucher welcome. Just the word welcome. You get your 10% off, love.
Okay. And what I was going to say is go to the website, life-enthusiast.com. There's a phone number at the top. If you call it, Martin or one of his coaches will answer and talk to them, and they'll make sure you're getting exactly what you need and give you the discount.
We'll get you off the drugs that make you stupid and sore.
There you go.
All right. I have to
Thank you for joining us, everybody. We've coming to the end, and
bye-bye.
Really appreciate you. Really appreciate the interaction. George, Karen, Kevin, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.